Welcome back. In this section we take a look at decompiling an Android application and we directly move on where we stopped in the video before. So now let's install the APK tool that we can start decompiling this Android application. The first step is done, we have downloaded this file, but now we want to decompile this. So I open up Google Chrome and I simply say APK tool download. And the first one is the correct one, the ibotpeaches.github.io. And there we have the current version. And after clicking this, it will be directly downloaded, as you can see here. And now it says, oh, this might be a dangerous file because a jar file is treated like a binary file. And this file is not trusted for the system. I do trust this application, so I say, okay, keep this. And now we have in the downloads directory this APK tool right here. We can open a new terminal and simply say java-jar and running this APK tool. And then we get this prompt. But now we want to put this APK tool into a tools directory that we have a clean setup. And we also want to generate an alias name. I will come to this in a second. So let's clean the system up a little bit. We copy paste this into tools. We create a new directory named APK tool and we paste it in right here. So now if we want to run this APK tool, we have to provide this whole path. I'm open a new terminal and show this to you. So I would have to type in every time home app tools, APK tool .jar if we want to run this. And I really way too lazy to type this all the time. So what we are doing is we are creating a shortcut, an alias name, which when we type in this alias name right here in this prompt here, this whole command gets executed. And this alias name needs to be known to our bash RC or ZSH RC, because those are the configuration files for our terminal. It depends on what you're running. So I will show you how to do this for both, because then you should be fine with this. I'm open this in gedit because this is more convenient for some graphical users. Therefore I run bash rc, this one right here. And then we type in alias and we name this alias APK tool. So this is our variable, let's say, in this way. Or our name, when we type in APK tool, we can say execute this whole command right here. And then we simply save this. And now I'm going to open the ZSH RC because I'm using the ZSH, the same. And we save this. You can also click save right here or simply hit Ctrl S. Now we want to execute this APK tool, but the command is not found. Why? Because this configuration file gets loaded when the terminal is being started. So therefore we have edited this file afterwards. We could close this terminal and open a new one, or we can use source on the ZSH RC. And now this configuration file gets updated in our terminal. So now we have this APK tool available. Look at the options of the APK tool. So the main options are APK tool D for decode. I will also say from time to time decompile, but I mean exactly the same. And we can decode or decompile an APK file. There, this is like unzipping, but with additional features. The other option is APK tool B for build, and we can build back an app path. So after decompiling application, we get a new directory structure, and we can build this directory structure back again to a mobile application. Therefore, we can also modify this directory structure, of course. All right, some other useful options. One useful option, is the -- advanced, because this lists even more opportunities of the APK tool. Here we have now a bunch of options, and this is what APK tool is capability of. So we now focus only on the most important ones because there's a lot of stuff and from time to time you need additional options, but we will learn this through the course. So let's focus on the main part. One important option is this one right here, the -r, which means do not decode resources. Well, resources are, for example, the resources ASC that contains some strings, collars and stuff like this. But also the Android manifest XML count as resource. Now you might think, wait, why should I not decompile or decode this Android manifest XML? Because afterwards we get some nice XML plaintext file. The answer to this is there are some kind of decompiling mechanism. For example, a developer can put some really strange characters into those resources, and the functionality of the app does not get affected. So the app works perfectly fine. But if an APK tool, for example, tries to decompile those strange resource files, it fails because the parser gets overwhelmed or confused and the whole process stucks. In this case, the attacker might be only interested in changing the source code, the Smiley files, for example, and even doesn't care about those resources. Therefore, it's this parameter. So with the -r parameter, we do not decompile those resource files. But not decoding the Android manifest XML might be really bad, because this file is an important configuration file and we need to modify this in case of adding some permissions or making this app debuggable, setting the backup parameter or things like this. And therefore the developer of this APK tool have also an answer for this. So we have here the -r, do not decode resources, but we also have this force manifest parameter right here. And this means even if the APK tool is not decoding those resources, it still tries to decode the Android manifest XML, that we can modify and view it. We also have the counterpart regarding to the sources right here. So if we are just interested in modifying the Android manifest and we face some problems with the source code, the classes.dex file in this case, then we can say, okay, simply just decode the resources and do not care about the sources. Okay, so these three options are pretty important. And these are the main options which I use most of the time, and that saved my day a lot of times. So let's start by decompiling this application right now. And then we compare those two, the unzipped version and the decompiled with the APK. Therefore I go into apps, spacepang, decompile. This is where the base APK is stored. So now I run APK tool D for decode, or as I say, decompile, and I provide the base APK. Here we can see decoding Android manifest XML with resources and some other stuff. And now we have a new directory right here named base. I open this now in a file browser. And this structure looks pretty similar to the ones we have seen by unzipping an application. So let's put them side by side and compare them against each other. Let's have a look at what is identical, and then we can only focus on the difference between unzipping and the APK tool. Alright, identical is the assets directory and also the lib directory. There's nothing different between those two decompiling and unzipping mechanisms. The original directory contains the meta-inf and the original Android manifest XML. So these are also identical, but just in a different structure. Then we have the rest directory, and the rest directory is also identical, beside the case that the resources ARC gets decompiled into a new directory named values. This one right here. Here we have the plaintext XML files. We've got the styles, strings, and public XML. So these are the resources ARC. Then we've got the com directory, and the com directory is within the unknown directory right here. So also identical. And now there isn't much left. We've got those classes.dex file. And what is the corresponding part of this file? We have now a new directory named Smiley. And if we open this one, we have a lot of subdirectories. And this new directory Smiley contains the classes.dex. And the classes.dex contains the Java source code. So here we have now our Java source code. But in what kind of format? Well, you even might guess it based on the name. We have some Smiley files right here. And let me open one to show you. Here, for example, we have the alien behavior.smiley. And here we can see, ooh, well, this still doesn't look that good. It still looks like assembly crap. Yeah, it does, but we do not have those byte references as we did have in those classes.dex file. And we also have only one single class here. So the alien behavior system.smiley is one single Java class. This makes it a lot easier for us to reverse engineer this whole application, because we do not have to dig into a whole bunch of binary files. We can simply pick in what we are interested in. And if I scroll down, yeah, we can see the Smiley part. And at the end of this course, you will be understanding what's inside here. You can directly read what's going on right here, and you can also modify this, which is super amazing. And if you don't believe me, just hang on to this course and we will make this together. For now, we stick to this part, that the classes.dex gets compiled into single Smiley files, which are single class files. Well, there's only one file left, which is the Android manifest XML, this one right here. And now we can see, wow, we've got plain text XML. So we can directly read this, we can modify this. Here, for example, we can see it uses the Android permission vibrate. So if you are installing this on a real device, the smartphone will vibrate when the player gets hit. Now we are able to edit this Android manifest XML. And what we are going to do now is we add an additional permission. We add the context permission into the Android manifest XML, because every application needs access to the contexts, even if it's just a flashlight, a puzzle game, or what else. So also this game should have the ability to access the contexts. How do we do this? Well, we'll learn about the permissions of the Android manifest XML in the next section, but yeah, let me show this quick to you because it's not that hard. I open this in a graphical editor. Let me choose one, this one here. Alright, and here we have use permission and then the Android name. Now we are no developers, we do not have a clue about what's the context permission, therefore we open Google. I search for Android read context manifest XML permission, and the official documentation would be more reliable, but I stick to Stack Overflow. And there we scroll down, and this one looks good. So I copy paste this one. And we add this right here. All right, we have added a new permission. Of course, we can also insert our own code to access those contacts and send them to our server. We will learn how to do this, but not now. Now we are just focusing on the decompiling and building part. Okay, we need to build back this app again. Therefore, I go into our terminal. And here we are in the directory spacebang decompile, where we have the base APK and the decompiled version or decoded version. Now I run APK tool B for build, and now I made this mistake so often you get this error. And this is the case because we need to build back this app path, this directory, not the APK. So therefore, please provide here the path, and yeah, maybe with the slash, then you are good to go. Now we are building back all those files which are stored in the directory and also our modified Android manifest XML to a new APK. And it says, okay, the build has done, we have a new APK, let's check. Here we have a new directory named dist, and here we have our new APK. This is our new build, our first build APK. We cannot install this right now. I'm gonna show this to you. So I'm gonna connect to the machine real quick and run adb install. And we get this error that this application has not been signed yet. We will learn about signing later on, but for now we have built back this APK, and it's also a modified version. We will check this out after we have signed this app in a section here, in 2 or 3 sections. All right? Okay. I've missed one file which I still want you to show, and it's this one. It's the APK tool output. So this provides some output, what APK tool, which options has been used and what APK tool does. it doesn't contain a lot of useful information, it's just some bunch of meta information. We can see, okay, unknown files has been put into this directory and some tag version and stuff like this. But I want to make sure that we have discussed everything in this directory here. Okay, let's switch back to the presentation, wrap this up really quick, and then we go into the next section, which is the Android manifest XML. Okay, in this section we have learned how to decompile and build an application. We have learned the most important features of the APK tool, which are already listed here. We've also seen the most important options of the APK tool. And there's an additional option, which is the -d. You can make this app automatically being debuggable by setting this flag, but you have to decode the Android manifest XML to do this. So we have to decode those resources to provide this parameter, but we can also do this manually, which you will see in the next section. But it's a handy option, so I listed also here. And then we have also taken a look at the unzipped version and the decompiled version. So here we can see what's white is those directories are identical. And the, let's say green highlight means, okay, these directories are identical but within a different structure. And the only difference regarding to the APK tool and unzipping is those classes.dex file gets compiled into single Smalley files, single Java class files, and the Android manifest XML gets decompiled or decoded into a nice readable XML structure. All right. That's all about the APK tool right now. We will learn more about during this course when we need some certain options, because I don't want to make or spend a lot of time on this topic right now. You also have a nice overview in your PDF cheat sheet. So please have a look. There you find additional options, parameters and stuff like this if you want to look up some things real quick. That's all for now, and I see you in the next section.